So the reviews for Redfall came out today. And unfortunately, I predicted right in my last video that the 30 FPS being locked at launch was a horrible sign of things to come. The game is currently sitting at a 62 on Metacritic, and a lot of people, reviewers, and people that play the games reported a lot of bugs and glitches. See, the beauty of Game Pass is that about 5-10 years ago, I would have had to rely on the IGNs, the Metacritics, social media, word of mouth to determine whether I would buy a game that I'm on the fence about, because $70 is a big investment and for a video game, and so I'm not just gonna go pay $70 and not know if the game is gonna be good. That's too much of a risk. But with Game Pass, I can just wake up, turn my Xbox on, and test it out for free. And so that's what I did. I've played about 2 hours or so of Redfall, and I must say, while it's not a horrible horror game, it's definitely underwhelming, and it deserves probably like a 70 Metacritic score in my opinion. It's not a good game, but it's not horrible. But for Xbox to have touted power and to have had the drought that it had, and to come out with this is unacceptable. First off, the very first thing I noticed was when I was choosing my difficulty, I could not choose the hardest difficulty because it doesn't let you choose the hardest difficulty until you beat the game once. So that was a horrible decision, because the biggest criticism before the game released was that, oh, the AI looks really stupid, oh, the game looks really easy, like they're just sponges, they're not really challenging. And you lock the hardest difficulty behind beating the game. That was a stupid decision. And I'm not a graphics guy. Like, I value gameplay over graphics. That's like, I'm a performance mode guy. And honestly, in 2023, what people consider mid graphics is really decent and good graphics to me, because when you consider how far we came from like 2007, 2008, it's really good for me. Like, I don't care. Like, I'll take mid graphics. It doesn't matter for me. Now, I can appreciate really good graphics like a Forza, but people said that, you know, Far Cry, games like Halo Infinite and COD have mid graphics, but those were really good, graphically impressive games to me. So I don't really care for graphics, but the graphics on this game is trash. And that's not a problem, because like I said, I don't care about graphics. But the problem is that the gameplay, because the 30 FPS and because the gameplay isn't smooth, the game feels dated, right? It's one thing to look dated, but to feel dated. When you combine that with the trash graphics, it really does feel like I'm playing a 2012 game. And I know I've seen some people say it looks like a 2011 game. They're not lying to you. They're right. Like, this game literally feels like I'm playing a game back on the 360. The running in the game is so stiff and so awkward, and the UI is absolutely horrible. Like, the quest marker, it doesn't show you like if a quest is high, if it's upstairs, if it's downstairs. It just shows you a general direction. So the UI is horrible, and it's really confusing, and it's annoying, right? The 30 FPS is really jarring. It's not smooth at all. Now, I'm not saying the frame drops constantly or whatever, and people who are having like all the bugs and glitches, I didn't have any bugs and glitches. Granted, I've only played for 2 hours, so I can't really speak to that, but I didn't experience it. This game really could have used another year in the oven to cook, and I said that before with Xbox, like with Halo Infinite, but they gave it another year, because this was supposed to release in 2022. They gave it another year and they released in 2023. And so my thing is what I'm going to say about Halo Infinite is the same thing I said. What I'm going to say about Redfall is the same thing I'm going to say about Halo Infinite. And that's, if it was in this state at launch, what was it in the year before it was delayed? What were they going to release it in 2022 if it's already this horrible? And everybody says, oh, Arkane's legit, Arkane got a reputation, Arkane this, Arkane that. And Arkane dropped the ball, it flopped. And so my thing is that, okay, what does this mean for Starfield? Because these games were supposed to release within months of each other, and if this is in the state it's in, you don't think Starfield is? Now, Starfield may release and be completely different, but it might just release just like this. We haven't heard anything about the performance mode on Starfield, and the showing of Starfield wasn't impressive. That looked kind of clunky. That looked kind of off too, right? That didn't look very impressive. That looked kind of a little choppy. It didn't look smooth. So, what if Starfield is 30 FPS? What if Starfield has graphics just as bad as this? Is Xbox in serious trouble? Yeah. I'll say yes for this, because the ABK deal, see, if the ABK deal ended in June, okay, fine, they can feed Game Pass with like a back catalog of all the Activision games. They could do a lot of things with that. But when you're getting blocked by the FTC, blocked by the CMA, it's collusion, and everyone's trying to block the deal, it's like, okay, you can't rely on Activision to come save you. You have to rely on ZeniMax and Xbox Game Studios. And right now, we don't know what state. If Starfield flops too, then what? The only AAA we're guaranteed to get this year is Motorsport. And I like Forza, but I just don't know where we go from here. It's just L after L after L after L with these dudes. At this point, something has to change, because this can't keep happening. I don't know what needs to be done, whether, I don't know what management needs to be overhauled or whatever, but you can't keep releasing games in this state. You can't keep having these droughts. It's not going to work. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's in Game Pass, but at the same time, I spend $15 a month. But what about all the other months I don't use Game Pass? Or what about the month that I was finally got to use Game Pass, like this month, because Redfall came out and it comes out trash? So it's like, okay, another month of not using Game Pass. Like, yeah, that in Game Pass can only work for so long. So yes, Xbox, it's looking really rough. And if this ABK deal gets blocked and Starfield flops, I don't know where they go from here. So hopefully Starfield comes out good. Hopefully the ABK deal goes in and Xbox can just throw all of this behind them. And yeah, that's all I got for today. Peace.